Hello, TPR Nation. This is Amber Kuhn from The Perfect REA. Thank you for joining me on today's Follow-Up Friday. Before I get into today's recap, if you're enjoying our episodes, we'd love for you to give us 5 stars wherever you listen to our podcast and make sure that you're subscribing so you don't miss an episode. Monday was our TPR Christmas special, and a very Merry Christmas to all of our amazing listeners. Hopefully you're taking some time with those who are most important to you and that you're getting ready to gear up for an incredible new year. So on Monday, Matt and Micah were talking about gifts that you can give your practice during the holidays and to look at the talents that you've been given and recognize that it's your obligation to use those talents. So let's go through a recap of the 12 things to do so that you can get the practice you want. The first gift you can give your practice is time blocking in doing a surge schedule. Now, surge can look different for you, but the essence of it is being hyper intentional about your practice. And when are you delivering value to your clients, your team? When are you setting up for projects? And when do you have time for other things such as recharging? This is a gift for yourself, your family, and your team. And remember that surge is a journey. It's not a destination. This is something that is constantly being refined. The second gift is the value sledgehammer and not the volume sucker punch in your client meetings. And you need to change your mindset that you're doing something magical that no one else can do to realizing that there is probably someone doing something better than you. You need to have this open mind because there's so much to learn from others. But this also applies to others who maybe aren't at your level. You can still learn from those people. So to deliver that value, instead of being focused on volume, you need to be open to learning new things and changing things so that you are constantly upping that game. The third gift is being effective with your time. Now, the difference between this and being efficient with your time is that if you're efficient, you're focused on doing something really well, but it may be on tasks that don't deliver value. For example, filtering email. These are things that you need to delegate. Another example is with your financial plan. If it's endless pages, but you're really efficient at it, versus having a simple plan, the one-page financial plan, that gets clients to take action. The fourth is getting rid of freebies, freeloaders, and exceptions. These are revenue destroying and they drain your soul because you're working with someone who doesn't respect you enough to pay your fee. The fifth is for new clients. Look at what is the definition of a new client and do they meet your 3 Ps, personable, profitable, and productive. Define what those are for you and look at how you're selecting clients for the next year. The sixth is to deliver massive value in the area of tax planning. This is almost a silver bullet in prospecting, so make sure that you're raising your tax knowledge. The seventh gift is to cut the opportunities that you have to play office. Everyone does it, so be intentional about when you're allowing yourself to play office and what you need to do to stop playing office. Also, know where you're weak so that you can get back to work. The eighth gift is professional development. You have to invest in yourself and invest heavily. You can't do all the things that you did for 2023 and think that 2024 is going to be your best year ever. You have to constantly up your game and make sure that you set up what percentage of your income is automatically going to your PD. The ninth gift is hiring a virtual assistant. This is someone who is dedicated to taking care of all of those things that you often spend playing office. This is a way to buy time and to help you achieve your goals. A tip for this is to have your VA find options for a coach in specific areas that you're going to focus on. And if you're not sure where to turn for that, reach out to our partners at Belay by texting RIA to 55123. The 10th gift is making a commitment to doubling your success in the next 36 months. Regardless of where you're at, this is possible. So look at your roadmap for how you can achieve this. The 11th gift is to join our Invictus program. Make that investment and join us for our masterminds. It'll transform your practice where you can be around other like-minded individuals who are serious about their growth. Visit theperfectRE.com/grow to learn more. The 12th gift is to write out your onboarding process. This is what happens once the prospect says yes. What does that first year of relationship look like? How are you continuing that relationship and how are you delivering value? Let's get into action items. Now, you just received 12 and the guy said you should do all of them. You can wait until you have the perfect plan to execute, or you can just move forward with progress and take action. But look at how you want to order these based on your pain points. And then look at what's the follow-up you need to do to make sure that things get done. Now, before we continue, if you're looking for more resources or to learn more about the topics that Matt and Micah are talking about in their episodes, reach out to our team at lifestyle@theperfectRE.com for more information. On Wednesday, Matt was joined by Kameka McLean, where they recorded while at the CISI conference in the UK this past October. Both Matt and Kameka were speaking at that event. Kameka shared her background in HR and how she got started. So her work is focused on the change and transformational projects with diversity, equity, and inclusion. So she was sharing her knowledge on how those in financial services can work together to empower diversity. Kameka said the most important thing for someone who wants to be an inclusive leader or implement a DEI strategy is to first look at the law. She said, align your goals and principles with what you want to achieve and look at the law to focus on one thing at a time. So with her current organization, they're focused on ethnicity and they're attracting a younger generation. They could also create affiliates with universities as well as tap into their diverse talent in different cultures. Kameka also recommends doing an employee survey to see how they're feeling, what they want to do, and their ideas, because being an inclusive leader means working collaboratively with those in your organization. She also said you can tap into what support the government has in place. And this isn't about diluting standards, but looking for ways to access those individuals who maybe don't want to go to college for one reason or another. Maybe they're not at that top school. Matt added that you don't need to hire someone who has a deep financial background, but what you're really looking for is someone with the right attitude and personal skills, and you can teach them everything else. He said he's found the more he invests in his team, the more they invest in him. So this is a good business decision and a good investment. Kameka recommends that when you're wanting to focus on this, the first is having the right policies and procedures in place. Have the right succession planning in place and align that with the strategic objectives of the business and where you want to go from a people perspective. Manage those end-to-end cycles of your employees and then have a staff survey. She said, once you have all of this together, it'll tell a story and you can see where you need to focus on improvement in those areas and where your investment needs to go. She said to improve diversity, you need to have empathy and you need to take the self out of it. She added that this applies to so many different areas and that we need to celebrate neurodiversity. She said we need to stop judging people by our own standards and make sure that you're checking on your team's well-being. Kameka said to make sure that you have the right support in place for your workforce because a culture where you have an open and honest discussion is so important. Let's get into action items. Remember that no one is you and that is your power. Or you can say to yourself, no one is me, and that is my power. You have the power to react or not react, and you control your circumstances in your situation. Second, nothing is impossible. That word means I am possible. So you can overcome your challenges, you can make a change, and make sure that you're selfish with your mental health. On Thursday, Jamie was talking about employee recruitment and retention. So she wanted to discuss how she recruits people as well as the tools that she uses. So if you're an employer, this was helpful for how you can sculpt future job offerings. And for employees, this gives you a glimpse into what your boss is thinking about. For job advertisements, Jamie tends to use Indeed, which she said now screens qualified candidates, which can be both a blessing and a curse because while the initial questions can be generic, in turn, she's seeing fewer resumes across her desk. So sometimes that helps skip someone who's very qualified in, and other times it's just casting too wide of a net and it's screening people out who would otherwise be a good fit. But for the advertisement itself, she wants to talk about what's in it for the candidate and what are the benefits to them. So it's less about your company and what you do and who you are. Once they get into the interview, then she's talking more about the job and the importance of the role and the service they provide to clients to make sure that those values are aligned. Also, that's when you can see how much research the candidate did to prepare and how they present themselves. Now, she also only schedules a 30-minute interview, but she said she probably doesn't even need 15 minutes. She said those who interview well likely interview a lot. But those who get nervous and who are awkward, she said they likely don't interview a lot, and that's a good sign for her. Once they finish the interview process, they do a background check, which Jamie uses Good Hire. And she's screening for education, criminal records, watch lists, and drug analysis. The reason this is important to her is that they're working with people's life savings. So you can't just take a candidate for their word. And they require a minimum credit score. Now, Jamie will bring this up during the interview so the candidate is aware, and she gives them the opportunity to let her know if there's any reason they wouldn't pass that background check and if they can't meet that minimum credit score. She said she has a responsibility to her clients and to the other team members. Then she'll also do a DISC assessment. She said you could also use Colby. Once that candidate takes that assessment, she'll overlay it with the other team members to see where they align and who they'll be opposite. The reason is that sometimes people apply for jobs they aren't suited for and that they don't have the natural ability to conquer that job. So she wants to make sure that she's got the right people in the right position. Once she's found that right candidate that she loves, she'll send out a one-page job offer. It'll highlight the job, the role, the base compensation, along with their PD and technology allowance and their health reimbursement allowance. Jamie shared some of the other benefits that they'll offer, like 401k, financial planning, nutrition, and management programs. Now, one note that Jamie mentioned was to make sure that you don't confuse benefits with culture. Culture is defined by the belief, empowerment, and respect everyone has. And you can have a great benefit package, but not be treated well or respected. Some things that have been novel to offer employees are pet insurance, also incentive programs, which could be tied to physical wellness or community development, gym memberships, and helping team members schedule that. You could also have volunteer days for your team members that don't impact their PTO. Jamie brought up professional development and said in lieu of an allowance, you could also hire a coach for your team. You do team outings and adventures, flex Fridays, as long as it's outside of surge. The last thing Jamie mentioned was also doing a family adventure pack. So this is something that the team member can take their family to go do, and this doesn't require big financial commitment. Jamie lastly talked about the different work languages, gifts, acts of service, words of appreciation, and quality time, and how when it comes to incentive programs, you can look at your team and see how they perceive they're doing a good job and sculpt those incentives around this. Jamie wrapped up with her number one rule around employee incentive programs, which she doesn't do, is a cash spot bonus because she said those are short-term gratifications. Let's get into action items. Now is the right time if you're looking to revise your employee retention program or looking to advertise for a position. And take Jamie's tips from this episode, put pen to paper, and figure out what this looks like in your organization. Before we go, TPR Nation, if you're ready to grow and dramatically impact your life and those around you and want resources to help, reach out to us at lifestyle@theperfectRE.com, or you can visit theperfectre.com/grow. That wraps up this week's recap. Thank you for joining me, and please share this or any of our episodes with another advisor or team member who you think might benefit from listening. And until next time, happy planning.